In this packet tracer activity, Configure Wireless Router Hardening and Security, you will configure wireless security on a wireless router. During installation of the router, it was partially configured but has some security issues that need to be addressed. You will also harden the router to help mitigate potential attacks. After the security configuration is complete, you will verify connectivity and security settings. Most tasks in this activity are graded. Click Check Results at any time to view your correct and incorrect assessment items. I will keep the Check Results window on top so you can watch the percentage correct increase as I complete tasks. Switching to logical mode is disabled. In addition, the data center and ISP telco locations are locked. Part 1. Configure basic security settings for a wireless router. The initial settings on a home wireless router can pose a security risk. For example, if threat actors know your public-facing IP address, they can search the internet for your router's default login credentials and remotely access your router. In this part, you will change the router's password and disable remote login. Step 1 is change the default router password. It is important to set a very strong password or lengthy passphrase to prevent unauthorized users from changing configurations on the router. Click the Home location and then click Home Office PC, Desktop tab, Web Browser. Connect to the home wireless router at 192.168.0.1 and then enter admin for both username and password. Click the Administration tab. Enter Cisco Netacad Rocks for both password fields. Scroll to the bottom and click Save Settings. The router requests that you re-authenticate. Log back in with the username admin and the new password, and then click Continue. Step 2 is Disable Remote Management. Home wireless routers typically ship with remote configuration enabled. This allows technicians from your service provider to access your device to help set up your home network or troubleshoot issues. However, this can be a security risk because a port must be open and listening in order for the technician to connect to the router. It is often possible to change the port and only permit HTTP access, but this does not afford any real measure of security because a threat actor could detect open ports and launch a password attack against the router. If remote management is truly needed, it would be far more secure to set up a VPN solution instead. The home wireless router in this packet tracer activity does not support VPN. Therefore, you will disable remote management. From the Administration tab, click Disabled next to Remote Management. Click Save Settings. Note, this will cause home wireless router to reset. Close the web browser and click Fast Forward Time several times. Return to Home Office PC and click IP Configuration to check if IP addressing is reassigned. In this case, IP addressing is reassigned. Note, it may be necessary to toggle between DHCP and static until Home Office PC receives IP addressing from the 192.168.0/24 network. Close IP configuration and then click Web Browser. Navigate to 192.168.0.1 and re-authenticate in preparation for the next part of the activity. Part 2. Configure wireless router network security. Right now, anyone that has a wireless device in range of the home wireless router could connect easily and possibly access devices on the network. To prevent this from happening, in this part, you will secure the wireless networks so that only devices with the correct configuration will be able to connect to the networks. Step 1 is configure and broadcast the HomeNet SSID. Currently, the router is not broadcasting the SSID of the networks that are configured. This is not a generally accepted security measure, mostly because if a threat actor were looking for a network to attack, they would still see the nameless network. There are tools available to snip the traffic to determine the SSID. In fact, the practice of turning off the SSID broadcast could potentially make a network a higher target for attack because the administrator is trying to hide it. Click the Wireless tab, and then for each of the three networks, click Enabled for SSID broadcast. For each of the three networks, change the SSID from default to Home Net. Click Save Settings. Step 2 is configure security for the HomeNet wireless networks. Perhaps the most important security measure outside of changing the router password is encrypting the traffic between the router and wireless clients. Without encryption, a threat actor can use easy-to-get and often free tools to simply intercept communication with very little effort. This can lead to further attacks as the threat actor gains knowledge about you and your networks. From the Wireless tab, click Wireless Security. For each of the three networks, configure the following: Security Mode WPA2 Personal, Encryption AES, and Passphrase Cisco Rocks. Click Save Settings. Step 3 is configure security for the GuestNet wireless network. The router allows for two independent wireless networks to be configured for each radio. This can be useful when you wish to keep guest traffic separated from traffic on other networks. From the Wireless tab, click Guest Network. For each of the three networks, click Enable Guest Profile. Configure each guest network with the SSID GuestNet, Enable Broadcast, Security Mode WPA2 Personal, Encryption AES, and Passphrase GuestPass. Click Save Settings. Part 3. Configure wireless clients. The home wireless router has been hardened and wireless security has been configured. In this part, you will safely connect wireless clients to the network. Step 1. Configure wireless connectivity for the laptops. Click Home Laptop 1 located in the living room, and then click Desktop tab, PC Wireless. Click the Connect tab. Click the first entry for HomeNet, and then click Connect. Security is already set to WPA2 Personal. Enter Cisco Rocks for the pre-shared key, and then click Connect. Click the Link Information tab. You should see the message, "You have successfully connected to the access point." If you are still not connected, check the configuration of the home wireless router and try this step again. Close the PC Wireless window and click IP Configuration. If the laptop still has an address assigned from the 169 network, like this one, toggle between DHCP and static until it receives IP addressing from the 192.168.0.0/24 network. Repeat this step for Home Laptop 2 in the Home Office, but use the first entry for GuestNet. Enter GuestPass as the pre-shared key. Step 2 is configure wireless connectivity for the IoT devices. In the Home Office, on the top shelf of the bookcase, click Home Webcam. Click Config Wireless 0. Enter HomeNet for the SSID. Choose WPA2 PSK for the authentication, and then enter Cisco Rocks for the PSK passphrase. Under IP configuration, click DHCP and verify the device received IP addressing from the 192.168.0.0/24 network. Toggle between DHCP and static if necessary. Repeat this step for both the home siren, located in the living room above the bookcase, and home doors. Part 4. Verify connectivity and security settings. In this part, you will test your configurations and security settings to make sure that the devices are communicating with each other and that they can reach the Internet. Step 1 is test Internet connectivity for wireless laptops. Click Home Laptop 1, Desktop tab, Web Browser. Navigate to www.ptsecurity.com. Packet Tracer may take several seconds to converge. You can click Fast Forward Time to speed up the process until the data center public web page loads. I clicked Fast Forward Time about 6 times. Repeat this step for Home Laptop 2. Step 2 is configure security for GuestNet and HomeNet interconnectivity. The GuestNet and the HomeNet should not normally be able to connect or share resources. Recall that Home Laptop 2 is configured for the guest network and should not normally have access to the devices on the home network. Use any method you wish to determine the IP address for Home Laptop 1. You can float your mouse over and see that the IP address is 102. You can click the laptop, go to IP configuration. You can also enter a command prompt, ipconfig, to see the IP configuration. 192.168.0.2. Click Home Laptop 2, Desktop tab, command prompt. Enter the ping command followed by the IP address for Home Laptop 1. Home Laptop 1 responds to the pings indicating that Home Laptop 2 can access devices on the home network. You will need to set the router to prevent hosts on different networks from communicating with each other. From Home Office PC, if necessary, log back into the home wireless router. Click the Wireless tab and then Guest Network. Uncheck the box next to Allow guests to see each other and access the local network. Click Save Settings. From Home Laptop 2, attempt to ping Home Laptop 1 again. The ping should now fail. This indicates that the hosts are not allowed to communicate between the two networks. You may have noticed that my percentage of completion is only 97%. Click Check Results to find out what assessment items are not complete. Scroll through the list and find the one that is not complete. It says for the Wireless Guest 5G2 network, I have the wrong authentication type. Close the Check Results window and check that setting. So for the Guest network 5 gigahertz number 2 network, I have it set to WPA personal instead of WPA2 personal. Change the setting. Click Save Settings, and now my percentage is 100%. This completes the Packet Tracer activity, Configure Wireless Router Hardening and Security.